Howdy y'all, I wanted to talk about Mortisomem, which is an indie horror game. It's very retro looking. It looks like a game that could have come out for the PlayStation 1. It's got that gray, brown, grainy sort of vibe to it. And it's a horror game as well that's in first person. The whole game is you trying to get from place to place. One thing I really liked about the game was you being able to kind of interact with everything. Every time I clicked on an item or in person, there was some sort of description or comment about what I was clicking on or interacting with. And I like that level of detail. There's, paintings, there's, sometimes pieces of paper or statues or whatnot, and you can interact with those things and talk to the people in the towns and learn more about what's going on and kind of the lore of what this creature is that's kind of around. You start this game in this tavern sort of place. You find out that there's this creature thing kind of running around. You're seeing kind of what the deal is, and you're making your way through to the next area in the next town to kind of find out what's happening. And as you're walking along, sometimes there might be an obstacle in your path. You'll see sometimes that there's multiple pathways to go, and either you're left to go in the linear path, or you might have many options available to you. As I got further into the game, I got to one part where there was like 3 or 4 different things that I needed to do, and I was pretty much given any order I wanted to do it in. I could go one direction or I could go another one. It just told you need these items, and not necessarily how to get them, but more of where they were at. This game overall to me was okay of an experience from the bit that I played. It didn't fully grab me, and it was hard for me to want to keep going with it. So for the inventory, I didn't love the way it kind of worked. You had the L button on the Switch that you would use to bring up the full inventory where you can select items. There was a quick button slot sort of set up, but my issue is that anytime I had to like shoot something, I would accidentally press the inventory button and go into inventory menu, and it kind of messed me up because instinctively I was so used to hitting like the left trigger button to aim when I'm shooting, but that's not how it works. You do get a gun in this game, but you kind of like hold and shoot at the same time, and so it didn't feel great using the gun. I mainly used a pistol, but there's like another weapon you can use as well. And so the shooting part of the game felt kind of wonky. Now, what's a little bit different in this game is that, at least with the part that I played, there was only one sort of creature that was there that you would be able to shoot at. And that's this monster and this being you keep hearing about. Kind of sort of looks like the Slender Man with a hat. And it's one of those things where you can't kill it, but you can shoot it to kind of slow it down. If it catches up to you, it kind of grabs you and throws you down. It takes some of your health, and you do get the chance to run away. There is a run sort of button, but it's not super fast, but it moves you. And you don't know when this thing's gonna show up. You could be halfway down the road, and then this thing pops out at you. So there is a music cue that does start right before it's about to appear, but it's very quick. Like, this thing will just show up. Sometimes I would hear the music, and then I wouldn't be able to find where it was, and then I turn around and it's like right there in my face, or it was further behind me. It was kind of not super consistent in terms of like where it would pop up at. So in that sense, it kind of made it a little bit interesting and a little creepy because you didn't know where this thing was gonna come from. Now, having said that though, I felt that it was taking a lot of bullets to slow this thing down. And then once I slowed it down, I would escape, and you basically escape by just running. You would just run, and eventually the music would just be gone, and the thing would just disappear somehow. And it was like, it's like, all right. And as you walk around, you get certain items. You can hold on to those items. They do take your inventory slot. So with the inventory, you know, you pick up items as you go, but you only have so much to work with. Sometimes I struggled trying to figure out like how to reload the gun or how that worked. You also have a lantern for your light, but actually I didn't really use it all that often because as I was going through, I could pretty much see where I was going, and at certain parts as I went down a path, there would be like poles on fire or a campfire. There'd be places that would illuminate light for me. Yeah, it felt like I didn't really need the lantern all that much. My big gripe with this too, again, it's a shorter game. It's not supposed to take you too long to get through, so I can kind of see maybe why they decide not to do this, but it would have been really nice to have an autosave for this. The problem is that you can't manually save the game. And once you die, you start at whatever the last save point was. So if you played a game for a bit and never hit a save point past like starting the game, then you have to start the entire game all the way over again. And some people might be into that. They might be in that old school kind of gameplay. But it became frustrating to me only because I didn't mind there not being an autosave so much, but as far as being able to save at all, it was few and far between. You would run into these buildings and houses, a lot of them were abandoned, but every once in a while would have people in them. And then if you go in there and there's people in there, you would be able to save by like walking into this house essentially. And then you would leave. But it's kind of spare. It's, you know, it's like every 2 or 3 areas you walk by, there might be a place to save, but you could be going for a while and not have any building to go in to save. And so it just kind of depends on the path you take and circumstance in terms of if you're able to get a save for a while or not. Especially too where there wasn't a map for this game. And because of the limited assets that were used, a lot of the pathways look kind of the same, and you could get kind of lost in terms of where you were going. There'd be signs posted to say, oh, hey, this way and this way, but I felt that the signs would always kind of show up after I already started getting lost, and I was never quite sure where I was going sometimes, especially when it opens up and gives me multiple branching paths. And I was never sure if like, oh, is this gonna loop around to where I was before at some point? Or am I going all the way to the end here and then coming back? And even like trying to find a certain items, I still would get confused onto like how to find a certain item in an area, because all it would do is really go this place in this kind of location, but that was it. It wouldn't tell you anything of how to get the item or anything like that. And so a lot of my experience with this game is just me wishing they had a lot of ways to kind of help improve the experience overall, whether it was just like the controls, the saving, and just kind of preparing me for what kind of game it was. For the kind of horror games, all that I liked, there was a little bit there because I'm more on the action side. I don't like the stealth or anything in horror games. It just felt a little lackluster to me, and I can't fully recommend it as an experience to try. If you want a more action horror sort of game, I would say just try like a Resident Evil. Try one of the Resident Evil remakes or something like that. I think you'd be better off spending your time playing those than trying this one out.